Twilight Registry. Case File 2241. The animal in the bag looked like a deer. Earl Pruett had been doing taxidermy since before Hallow Creek had a proper stoplight, and he told the man standing in his doorway that he could have the mount finished in 6 weeks. Standard 8-point. Nothing special. The man, Corbin Marsh, according to the check he wrote, said fine. Left the bag on the workbench. Didn't look at it on his way out. Didn't say goodbye the way most clients did. Just left. Earl unzipped the bag at 9:15 that evening. The hide was correct. Tawny-gray. The specific matte quality of late-season coat. The antlers were correct. 8 points, asymmetrical in the ordinary way. The velvet long scents rubbed clean on both main beams. The hooves were correct. The smell was correct. Damp grass, musk, a mineral undertone like creek water. He made the first incision along the dorsal midline, and that is when 40 years of certainty folded in on itself. The musculature was wrong. Not grotesquely wrong, not something you'd catch from the outside. Wrong the way a translated phrase is wrong. Every word technically present, the sentence almost sensible, but carrying a meaning the original language didn't have. The trapezius connected where the longissimus should begin. The subscapularis lay beneath a structure Earl had no name for. A dense cord of tissue, pale and slightly translucent, that ran from the shoulder socket all the way back to the 7th cervical vertebra. He had never seen anything like it. He opened 2 reference texts. He called his friend in Boone County who taught animal biology. He described what he was looking at. His friend said, "That doesn't sound like a deer." Earl said, "I know." He kept working. He is a methodical man. He does not like to stop in the middle of a job. The dermis came away cleanly, and he began to understand that the exterior of the animal was a very good approximation of the correct thing, while the interior had been arranged by something that had studied deer without ever being one. The organs were all present, all accounted for if you named them quickly and didn't look too closely. The heart sat where hearts sit. It had 4 chambers. He counted them twice. The chambers were not the right shape. They were longer than they should be. Narrower. The walls thicker at the base than at the apex. Like the heart had been designed to push blood against a different kind of resistance than gravity. He set it aside in the specimen tray. He kept working. The eyes were the last thing. Earl had pulled hundreds of eyes. Glass replacements are the whole aesthetic center of a mount. You learn to choose them carefully, to match diameter and iris color with precision. Because the eye is where the viewer decides whether the animal is alive or dead in that finished pose. He reached for the orbital cavity. The eye looked back at him, not the glassy, pressure-equalized stare of a recently harvested animal, not the sunken, deflated look of one that had been dead too long. The eye was oriented. It tracked his lamp as he shifted it to get better light. The pupil contracted. Hurled stepped back from the table. The pupil contracted again, responding to the overhead fluorescent, which he had not moved. He called Corbin Marsh's number. The line had been disconnected. He called the county extension office and described what he had, and the woman on the other end of the line said she could have someone out in the morning. He said that would be fine. He went to bed. He did not sleep. In the morning, the extension agent arrived. A young man with a clipboard and the polite, slightly bored expression of someone expecting a nuisance call about a possibly rabid fox. Earl walked him into the workshop. The specimen tray was empty. The hide was folded neatly on the bench. All the internal structures Earl had removed were arranged in precise order beside it, like a diagram. Each piece was labeled in small, careful handwriting on white adhesive tags. Earl did not own adhesive tags. He does not know who labeled the organs. He does not know what they were labeled with. The writing is in a script that resembles English at a glance, but does not resolve into words when you look directly at it. The extension agent photographed everything. His report describes the labels as unidentified notation system, possibly a personal shorthand. It does not explain the empty eye sockets in the folded hide or the two small impressions in the workbench mat that suggest the animal, at some point between Earl's last waking hour and the agent's arrival, was standing on all 4 feet. The Twilight Registry acquired the case 3 weeks after Earl Pruett's workshop visit. The secondary investigation began with the other clients. Corbin Marsh is not a name on record with the county assessor, the vehicle registration office, or the state hunting license database for the past 11 years. The check he wrote cleared without incident, drawn against an account at a regional credit union that was subsequently found to contain a single transaction, the deposit that funded Earl's payment, originating from an account number that does not correspond to any account the credit union has on record. When the credit union's compliance officer attempted to trace the transfer, the audit log for that date contained 16 hours of entries that look correct at the header level and produce null results at every line item. The registry contacted 7 other taxidermists within a 40-mile radius. 4 of them, when shown the photographs Earl had taken, went quiet in a way the investigators noted as significant. 2 of those 4 had received similar commissions in the previous 2 years. Neither had retained physical evidence. 1 had retained a photograph. The photograph shows an animal on a workbench. It looks, at a quick glance, exactly like a deer. Investigators who spent more than 30 seconds looking at the photograph reported a persistent sensation that they were being looked at in return. 3 of the investigators noted that their peripheral vision, for a period of several days following exposure to the photograph, produced a shape at the edge of sight. Standing still, large, the specific silhouette of something with antlers, present only when they were not looking directly at it. One investigator, on the 4th day, turned quickly. Whatever had been in her peripheral vision was no longer there. There were, on the carpet behind her, 2 small impressions, not hoofprints, something between a hoofprint and a handprint, as if the proportions had been estimated rather than grown. The registry's current classification for case file 2241 is ongoing, unresolved. The working hypothesis, listed without endorsement in the file's conclusion section, is that something has learned to move through rural landscapes by presenting as the animals those landscapes are supposed to contain. It learned this slowly, over years, by being close enough to study the real thing. It has not yet fully succeeded. The interior is still wrong. The concern noted in the file's final paragraph is not the failing. It is the improving. The last line of case file 2241 reads as follows: Corbin Marsh has not been identified. The name, however, has appeared in 3 other taxidermist intake logs submitted to the registry in the 14 months following the Hallow Creek incident. Each log describes the same check-clearing anomaly. Each log describes a deer. This has been the Twilight Registry. We document what cannot be explained. We file what cannot be closed. Stay curious. Stay careful. Case file 2241 remains open.